Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. My name is Andrew Harrell. I'm the Communications Specialist for No Kid Hungry, North Carolina. If we haven't met, you've likely connected with my colleague, Helen Roberts, our School Breakfast Outreach Manager, who is also here today. Many of you are familiar with this already. In North Carolina, No Kid Hungry is working with schools and districts, state agencies, community organizations, and others to improve access to school breakfast, summer meals, and after-school meals. So before we begin, there's a handful of things going on in North Carolina that I want to make sure you're aware of. We go ahead, I think 2 slides. So the first is that the Summer Paloozas will be held this year in Greenville, Greensboro, and Asheville in late October. I'm sure you've seen communications from us and DPI already about these events. These planning summits encourage creative year-round thinking for summer meal programs and are open to both veterans and newcomers to the program. The registration link and more info are at nokidhungrync.org/summerpalooza. Next, I want to mention some new grant opportunities that are upcoming from No Kid Hungry, North Carolina. We're fortunate to have access to a new pool of grant funding from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina that we'll be distributing over the next 3 years. Applications for after-school meals and summer meals will be available later this school year, and school breakfast grants will be available as well. So stay tuned to communications from our team for more information about these grants as they become available. The NC Child Hunger Hero Awards are a new way to celebrate people doing great work across the state during our annual conference in February that I'm sure many of you have attended before. Check out our website for more information. You'll see the link there for nokidhungrync.org/hero. Anyone can nominate or be nominated for these awards. Next, many of you have heard Julie Pittman, a Regional Teacher of the Year from Rutherford County, share her story last year at either the No Kid Hungry or the DPI School Nutrition Conferences. Julie is spending this year working full-time with No Kid Hungry on educator outreach in North Carolina. She's a powerful resource for our state, so be sure to consider how she can help you connect with teachers and principals on nutrition programs in your district. Her email is here on the screen, and we can share it with everyone after the webinar as well. On the next slide, finally, I want to make sure that you've all had a chance to see the video message about school breakfast from Governor and First Lady Cooper. You can check it out later today after the webinar on our homepage, nokidhungrync.org. There's 2 ways I'd suggest using this video message. It makes a great thank you for staff who are already working to make innovative programs happen within your school. And it makes a great message of support to share with administrators like principals or superintendents as you seek support for new innovative breakfast programs. So now I'm going to turn things over to Kelly Mcdonough, Senior Manager of the No Kid Hungry Center for Best Practices. Kelly is based in Washington, D.C. and has traveled to join our team here in North Carolina a number of times. She was also a big part of the School Breakfast Leadership Institute that brought grants to our 24 schools in our state last year.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew, for that introduction. You just saved me a few sentences. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. I'm really excited for this opportunity to talk with you about this important topic. I also like it because it's a pretty fun topic as far as school nutrition goes. And to get us started today, I wanted to take a minute to acknowledge National School Breakfast Week. I feel like it would be amiss to launch into the subject of school breakfast promotion strategies without acknowledging this week of the year that is dedicated to the celebration of school breakfast. I'm sure that most of you joining us today are familiar with National School Breakfast Week, but we'll just throw some fun facts out there to get us started. This is a week-long celebration that was actually permanently established in 1975 by an act of Congress. It's typically scheduled each year for the first week of March. So in 2020, it's going to be from March 2nd to March 6th. You can celebrate National School Breakfast Week whenever works best for your school or school district. However, this when the week is recognized nationally. Each year, there's a new theme for National School Breakfast Week. And for 2020, that theme is School Breakfast Out of This World. If you visit SMA's website, they already have some of the graphics and resources available, and soon the 2020 toolkit will be out, and that toolkit will feature more than 14 pages of resources and ideas to help you plan your National School Breakfast Week celebration. And while National School Breakfast Week is an exciting and wonderful opportunity to celebrate school breakfast, what we're going to talk about today is the ways that you can be celebrating school breakfast throughout the entire school year, because we know that there should be efforts put in place year-round to make sure that people are familiar with the school breakfast program, and that at the end of the day, your students are participating in the program. So as we get started, I want y'all to think about your stakeholders. We know that marketing is an essential component to increasing school breakfast participation. Getting the word out helps to ensure that more students start the day with breakfast. So as you think about getting started, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Who are your stakeholders? Typically, you're going to be thinking about your students as the customers of your program, teachers, principals, superintendents, parents, and families. And as you think about those groups, I encourage you to think about, how can you best reach them? We know that different channels work better for reaching different stakeholder groups. I encourage you to think about, what do you want them to know, or what do you want them to do? These guiding questions will really help you about the ideas that you want to turn into action to promote your school breakfast program. I also encourage you to think more specifically about what's happening in your individual school or district. For example, do you get a lot of questions from parents? Perhaps this is an opportunity to send information home to families or to invite them to join their students for breakfast at school. Was your superintendent integral to securing a grant? Why don't you invite him or her to breakfast to say thank you? There are countless ways to celebrate and promote school breakfast, and I'm excited to walk y'all through some of those today. So a little more as we get started, I want us to stay focused on these three goals as we talk together today. When you think about promoting your school breakfast program, let's think about building awareness, generating excitement, and ultimately increasing participation. This webinar is going to cover a lot of different ideas, but I encourage you to choose a few that are the best fit for your school or district. I also encourage you not to take on too much or to do everything all at once. We're going to cover a range of ideas. Think about how you can adapt them to best fit the needs and goals of your school or district. It's totally okay to take these ideas and do a little less or do a little more. It's up to you, again, for whatever fits your situation the best. I really want you to take these ideas and make them your own. One other note is that most of the ideas shared within this slide deck are no cost, and many of them are kind of low to medium effort. So there really should be something in here for everyone. So the first thing we're going to talk about today are challenges. Challenges are best for engaging students. Challenges are a great way to build excitement around school breakfast. They're typically good for short-term participation boosts and are best paired with other strategies for sustained participation increases. One of the things that I really like about challenges is that you can offer different prizes for elementary, middle, and high school students, which allows challenges to appeal to students of all grade levels. And for anyone right now who's thinking to themselves, well, I don't have a budget for prizes, that's totally okay. We have ideas for that too. I encourage you to think about incentives that already exist in your school. A lot of schools offer bucks to the school store or a no homework pass. You can also think about seeking donations from your community for things like movie tickets or zoo passes. And if you're now wondering to yourself, well, I'm not sure what prizes will get students excited, I encourage you to ask your students. No one knows students as well as students themselves. So if you ever find yourselves wondering what your students will like, what will get them excited, and that can range from everything from the menu items on your breakfast program to prizes that you might offer for a challenge, go ahead, talk to your students, hear them out on that. But kind of getting now into some of the specifics on, what are challenges that you can offer? I love the idea of something called Lucky Tray Day. So if your breakfast program serves breakfast on trays, this is something where you can place a sticker or special mark under a select number of breakfast trays, and then students who receive a lucky tray win a prize. A similar style challenge, if you serve grab-and-go breakfast in bags, is to do Golden Ticket Day, where you can place a golden ticket or other indicator of winning inside select grab-and-go bags, and students who receive that golden ticket win a prize. You can also host a raffle, so that can look something like giving students a raffle ticket each day that they eat breakfast. And then for, the more days that they eat breakfast, the more chances they have to win. Or you could do something that looks more like a breakfast club card, where students receive a breakfast club card and collect a sticker or a punch or whatever marking you want to use for each day that they eat breakfast. And then when that card is complete, students can either win a prize or their completed card can serve as a raffle entry. And I wanted to share with you what I call here a real-life example. And this is an example from San Francisco Unified School District, where they ran a school breakfast challenge during National School Breakfast Week. This is something that they've continued to do each year. They created a breakfast challenge kit for their schools, which included this breakfast passport for students. What you see here was one of the past National School Breakfast Week themes that they used. And they also created a bar chart template for schools to hang up to track progress. In addition, they created flyers for families, instructions for dining staff, and daily announcements. And this is great because the district team took on this effort and they were able to share these materials with their schools, making this something that was really easy to put in place. And while they use this as an initiative during National School Breakfast Week, it's something that can be used at any time during the school year. Again, with that idea of building excitement, building some extra buzz around breakfast, and ultimately getting more students to participate in the breakfast program. Next, we're going to talk about contests. Contests are another great way for engaging students, great for building excitement around school breakfast. And contests come in all different types and ways and forms. There are art contests, poster contests, video, essay contests. And this is a great way to connect with teachers in your school and build on projects that students might already be partaking in, connecting with some of the clubs in your school. And here we have an example of Clark County School District in Nevada, and they hosted an art contest, and they had their district food service director served as the judge for the art contest, and the winners had their art displayed at a local library. We also have some other examples hyperlinked here, and as a reminder, you all will receive this slide deck after the webinar. From the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction. They hosted a video contest, and students, teachers, food and nutrition service staff, and other school officials showed up their creativity while showing the ways that school breakfast has helped their school. And what I really like about these contests is that not only are they engaging students through the contest itself and allowing students to show their creativity, you then get the bonus add of the products of the contest serving as additional promotional materials for your breakfast program. So for example, if you engage your school's art club in a poster making contest around school breakfast, you can then take the products of those posters and have those serve as decorations around the school. Perhaps your school or district has been interested in launching a refreshed marketing campaign, but you're not sure what visuals would connect with your students. Well, this is a great way to put all these pieces together, and you can have students participate in a contest, to create the next breakfast poster design, and then you can reproduce those posters and have those shared across your school or district. So again, as I said earlier, lots of ways to get creative here to kind of take this idea in its kind of foundational form and think about how this might work best for your school or your district. Now we're going to talk a little bit about special guests or guest servers. This idea is best for engaging a variety of stakeholders, including students, parents and families, administrators, elected officials, and community members. I encourage you to think about the celebrities within your school. And when I say celebrities, think about who students would be excited to see help serve breakfast or join them at the breakfast table. This as well can be something that ranges based on the age group, your elementary, your middle, or your high school students. And I encourage you to think about a variety of people. That could be school administrators. The little kids in particular really get excited when they see their principal serving breakfast. I encourage you to think about local law enforcement. Is this an opportunity to invite your local fire station or police department in to either participate in serving breakfast or to join students for breakfast? Athletes, are there local athletes? Is there a big college team? Do you have connections with semi-professional or even professional teams or veterans to be special guests for school breakfast? Here we have an example from Virginia, where during their annual Virginia Breakfast Challenge, schools there invite veterans to come and enjoy school breakfast with students. They also double up on this effort and connect on Veterans Day. So it's a great way to be honoring and celebrating Veterans Day, and also to draw attention and build excitement around the school breakfast program. So again, we're using kind of this one example here, but hopefully you're thinking about other opportunities and other people in your community that you can link together to put this idea into practice. Now we're going to talk about site visits and assemblies. These are best for engaging principals, superintendents, school board members, elected officials, and even the media. This is an opportunity for you to invite guests to see the breakfast program in action. You can also use this as an opportunity to thank or honor breakfast champions. As we touched upon at the start of this webinar, if you had someone that was instrumental in helping your school or district to get a grant, or perhaps they championed the launch of a breakfast after the bell program at your school that really helped, to boost participation, and you want to say thank you, you can use this as an opportunity to thank or celebrate that person or group of people. This is also an opportunity, if you're interested in hosting visits, for school leaders that might be interested in offering breakfast after the bell, but want to see it in action. What I have here is an example of an initiative that New York State started last year. They call it New York School Breakfast Day, and this is something that they set up to celebrate school breakfast across the state. While this is a state example, this is of course something that you can adapt to be something that you celebrate in your district or even at the individual school level. And they had legislators and other local officials from across the state visit schools for breakfast. You can see here in the photos that some of those electeds were involved in the serving of breakfast. Some sat down and enjoyed breakfast with students. And what's really great here is that there was a lot of exciting social media coverage which even further amplified that excitement around breakfast. And if we go back to where we started today, you know, we want to get the word out around breakfast. We want to raise awareness, increase excitement, all of that driving back to more students eating breakfast. Speaking of social media is a really great resource to use to promote school breakfast. Typically, it's a resource that you can use for free, and it is great for engaging a variety of audiences. You can use social media to reach students, teachers, principals, superintendents, parents, families, elected officials. Of course, I do want to note that when it comes to students, districts and schools do have varying policies around how they choose to engage students. So with social media, you will want to see, you know, does your school or district have an active social media presence? Is that something that you can build on? I've seen a lot of districts that create their own school food social media accounts to get the word out. That's one way to go about it. Or another is to find out who within your school or district is already running the school's social media site and find out if you can share content with them. It's really a win-win. That way the person who's managing, say, the Facebook page or the Twitter account, they are oftentimes wondering, you know, what kind of content do I have today? You know, what can I post next week? And it's great because you can hand them ready-to-go content. And that is an opportunity for you, again, to raise awareness around school breakfast. Of course, while today's subject is focused on school breakfast, you can use social media and these other strategies to more broadly support the child nutrition programs that you're offering. And if you're wondering, you know, what do you post on social media? How do you use social media to promote school breakfast? This is an opportunity for you to get creative as well. You can post photos of your breakfast items. You can announce the menu, either the menu for that day or the week ahead. You can introduce new items. You can promote special events. You can shout out your staff. You can really get creative here and use social media in a variety of ways. And to demonstrate that to you, I spent a little time on social media and pulled some pretty great posts to show how districts across the country are using social media to get the word out and celebrate their school breakfast programs. Here you have a number of sample posts where you see highlights of, you know, what's on the menu for that day. I like that in the details of these posts, it will mention, you know, the item that's being shown in the picture, but also other items that are being served on the menu. You know, if your school is serving local items, this is a great opportunity to shout that out. We know so much goes on behind the scenes of school nutrition. This is a great way to let people know that. Here we have some additional examples, so getting beyond featuring menu items and photos. The example we have on the left is information that features details around a district's CEP eligibility, what CEP is, how is it a benefit, the schools that are participating. And on the right, we have a great staff shout out where we have the district's nutrition director and staff visiting a school to celebrate Second Chance Breakfast. And lastly, we have a couple more examples. Here we have the school's menu on the left side.
If you're on the phone, can you hear us? Can someone type a message into the chat box? No one answered my messages. I'm still working. Andrew, okay. Okay, we're still working.
All right, y'all. Technology does us wonders, and sometimes it's a challenge.
We're migrating to a new system, so thank you for your patience. We'll continue on.
Okay, let's figure out what I was talking about. So here on the left side of the screen, we have an example of a district that posted a photo of their school breakfast and lunch menus, and it also links back to the place on the website where people can learn more. And again, we have another photo here on the right of a district highlighting what is going to be on the menu for that day. If you need a little more inspiration and you're still wondering, what are others posting, what's working well, what could work well for me, I encourage you to go on social media. Again, that can be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and search for hashtag school breakfast. Go ahead, search the hashtag, click on it. It'll be a great way to see what other schools and districts are posting and give you some ideas on how you can use social media to promote your own school breakfast program. And now that we've talked about technology, which, as we just acknowledged, can sometimes be challenging to work with, let's take a second to talk about good old-fashioned paper. So thinking about things like posters, flyers, newsletters, this is great for engaging, again, a variety of audiences, students, teachers, principals, parents, and families. What I encourage you to do is really think about the ways that your school is already communicating with these stakeholder groups. So how does your school get the word out about anything to these different groups? And how can you find the opportunity to plug into that? So we don't want you to recreate the wheel. How can you find those channels and put information about the school breakfast program into them? So for example, if your school or district already sends out a monthly newsletter, is that a place where you can submit, a small blurb around school breakfast or a link to the menu? Is there a bulletin board that's available in your school that you notice is often blank and your team wants to take on decorating it? Some schools offer things like take-home Tuesday folders where important information gets sent home to families. Is that an opportunity where you can put something in there about the school breakfast program? In some communities, the local newspaper is a great place to feature the weekly breakfast menu or otherwise shout out your school breakfast program. Again, to make things a bit easier for you, to save you some work, the USDA has sample school breakfast newsletter inserts that we've hyperlinked in this webinar. No Kid Hungry also has some customizable Powered by Breakfast posters. And we also have an I Love Breakfast toolkit that features templates for students to fill out handwritten cards that you can use as well. Here we have some examples of posters from Minnesota. There was a initiative there called Project Breakfast, where students worked with a local marketing agency to create these breakfast promotion posters. Some of you might recognize these images as having a pop culture inspiration. So this is just, again, some more inspiration, or dare I say food for thought, to think about how you can get creative and in engaging your students in not only the creation of promotion materials, but in this case, also the students starring in those materials. Another strategy to think about is special menus and taste tests. This is a great way to engage students. It can also be great in engaging teachers and principals. I'm sure many of you are offering things like this already. Theme days can be really popular, like Taste the Rainbow, or having a local or professional sports team inspired menu. I've got to be careful here talking to a North Carolina audience of potential Panthers fans, but I'm a big New Orleans Saints fan. So if I was operating a school breakfast program, I might have a black and gold menu, perhaps serve some Breeze biscuits for breakfast. It's also a great way for you to showcase new breakfast items, where you can host a taste test and have students give their feedback on those breakfast items. I really encourage you when you do taste tests to kind of narrow down the field. It can be a risky move to broadly ask students what they want for school breakfast, knowing that you're going to get all kinds of answers. But if you narrow it down and give them the opportunity, say, to taste test 2 or 3 menu items that you know that you can definitely put on the breakfast menu, and allow them to have a voice in selecting that item, it's a great way to show the students that their feedback is valued and their feedback can be put into action. And then when you think beyond the students, thinking about the adults, like teachers and principals, you can also, you know, for a day or a week, offer free breakfast to teachers and principals as a way to kind of connect them more with the program, give them a chance to taste the menu items. Again, really just connecting more people with school breakfast. And one of the last strategies that we're going to talk about is a proclamation. This is something that's great for engaging elected officials and the media. And overall, it's a really great way to spread the word within your city or your state if it's a big effort around school breakfast. What is a proclamation? It's an official statement of praise and celebration. If you're interested in drawing media attention to your program, this can be a great way to do it. You can contact your mayor or governor's office. You can also contact more local offices to learn about their process for issuing proclamations. Here we have a couple of examples of gubernatorial proclamations that were issued in North Carolina and Virginia in celebration of National School Breakfast Week. And so again, we have these samples to share with you. And while these 2 examples were done at the state level, this is absolutely something that you can model more locally. And to kind of wrap us up today, what I wanted to share with you is that we have a resource titled School Breakfast Promotion Strategies, like this webinar, which is a 2-page resource that summarizes a lot of what we discussed today. So if there's anyone that you think would be interested in this information, you can share this resource with them. We have this resource and nearly 400 others available on our No Kid Hungry Center for Best Practices website. And as we mentioned earlier, you will get this slide deck after the webinar. So you're welcome to revisit the slide deck yourself, to share it with others. So you'll have links within it that you can share. So we absolutely welcome and encourage your questions at this point in time. You should be able to see a chat box, and you can go ahead and enter your questions into that chat box. We'll see it behind the scenes, and we can answer that. We encourage you to ask questions. Feel free also to use that chat box to share ideas. If there's anything that you've been doing around school breakfast marketing and promotion that's been working well for you, or that you think is fun and creative and exciting, I welcome you to share that, and we can give you a shout out for that. So I'm going to pause for a moment to allow questions to come in. Okay, well, no questions so far. If you have a question, again, please go ahead and put it into the chat box. Otherwise, if you have a question that you think about later, we encourage you to reach out to our No Kid Hungry North Carolina team. Their contact information is here on this last slide. You can reach the team at nokidhungrync@gmail.com. And then the team will also be sharing information about future webinars. So if you have topics that you would be interested in hearing about in the future, go ahead and let us know. We will keep that chat box open for another minute. So again, questions, ideas, we welcome it all. But otherwise, just a really big thank you for joining us today. I hope that you all are able to take away some ideas that you can use for your school or your district. And I look forward to an opportunity to connect with you in the future.